Hello there, and welcome to the Data Radio Show. Between late 2024 and early 2026, the data engineering landscape underwent a total transformation. This explanative investigation breaks down the 15-month period that redefined the industry. We analyze the transition from monolithic manual batch workflows to decoupled, highly automated streaming architectures. Learn why speculative RAG and data circulatory systems have become the new standard for the modern AI-powered organization. We use AI to explore it all. To access all of the exclusive resources on this topic covered in today's episode, then check out our school classroom. It's linked in our bio. We've got a wide range of content and research accessible for all, and don't forget to give us a follow here and there while you're at it.
All right, let's get right into it. Over just 15 months, basically from the tail end of 2024 to the start of 2026, the entire field of data engineering got a complete and total rewire. Now, this isn't some story about slow, steady progress. Nope. This is a story about a rapid-fire AI-fueled revolution. And in this explainer, we're going to investigate exactly how that seismic shift went down piece by piece. And this quote from late 2025, it just nails the stakes perfectly. The comfortable era of batch ETL and scheduled data pipelines is ending, not gradually, but decisively. That one word, decisively, that's the heart of our investigation. We're talking about a transformation so fast and so profound that it left no corner of the profession untouched.
So, to really understand the explosion, we've got to rewind the tape. Let's go back to late 2024. What did the world of data engineering actually look like right before this AI wave turned into a tsunami?
In early 2025, the big headline wasn't about rogue AI agents building systems. The whole conversation was about something called the Great Consolidation. The name of the game was tidying up. Companies were tired of their messy, fragmented tool chains, so they were slashing them and moving everything onto these big, unified cloud platforms. It was a battle of the giants, each one trying to become the platform.
And here's what that battlefield looked like. You had Snowflake sitting pretty at the top, holding 35% of the market. Right behind were the usual suspects, Google's BigQuery and AWS Redshift. The whole game was about who could offer the best scale, flexibility, and cost in the cloud. And see Databricks down there at 5%? Don't let the small number fool you. Their growth was a huge signal that the lakehouse architecture, this hybrid of data lakes and warehouses, was seriously catching on.
Now, what's so interesting here is that this slide shows a revolution had already happened. The industry had already made the huge leap from those old, rigid, on-premise systems to these modern, flexible cloud platforms. Yeah, batch processing was still the norm, but the foundation, the launchpad for something way faster, was already in place. This shift to the cloud was basically the essential prerequisite for the AI explosion that was lurking just around the corner. So, where was AI in all this? Well, back in early 2025, think of AI as an incredibly smart sidekick. The big tools every engineer had in their back pocket were things like GitHub Copilot, ChatGPT, and Claude. They were using them to write code faster, troubleshoot tricky problems, and even churn out documentation. AI was making them better at their jobs, not doing their jobs for them. It was a coworker, not a replacement. But oh, how quickly that was about to change. Okay, so the stage is set, and then mid-2025 hits. This is the moment the quiet evolution goes into hyperdrive and becomes a full-blown, world-changing cascade of new tech. I mean, just look at this timeline. It's absolutely breathless. In July, ChatGPT 5 drops, and it's promising to build entire data pipelines in a matter of hours. Then boom, August, the EU AI Act kicks in, and suddenly compliance is a core engineering problem. September, we start hearing about large behavior models, AI that deals with physical action, not just words. And by October, Claude 4.6 arrives, and everyone starts talking about true agentic AI. It was just one punch after another, each one building on the last. So, this term is crucial, agentic AI. This wasn't just your standard automation. We're talking about autonomous systems that could make their own decisions to hit a specific goal. The role of the data engineer started to flip, almost overnight, from being the person writing the code to being the person overseeing the agent that writes the code. A huge shift. And on top of that, you get these wild new architectural patterns like speculative RAG. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. The basic idea is brilliant. You have a bunch of small, specialized AI models draft up different answers at the same time, and then a bigger, smarter model swoops in to verify the best one. This just massively boosted performance and started to completely blur the lines between simply finding information and making an actual reasoned decision. And here's where it all gets very, very real. There was a documented case around this time where an AI agent built an entire ETL pipeline in 6 hours. Six, a job that just a few months earlier would have been estimated to take a team of humans 3 weeks. Let that sink in. This wasn't just a small improvement, this was a complete upending of the basic economics of building data systems. But right as this tech rocket ship was blasting off, a regulatory bombshell landed right in the middle of it all. The EU AI Act suddenly went into effect, and data governance was no longer a problem for the lawyers. It became a critical hands-on engineering job. All of a sudden, you had to have auditable data history and quality baked in from the start. This intense pressure for control collided head-on with the rise of these autonomous AIs, and it created a perfect storm. And that storm, it didn't stay contained in the digital world. The next phase of this great rewiring is when these advanced AIs broke out of the data center, started interacting with the physical world, and created a whole new universe of data problems. So we really need to get the difference between two kinds of AI here. We were all used to large language models, LLMs. They operate in the world of words. They learn from text, they output text, but this new frontier was large behavior models, or LBMs, and they operate in the world of action. They learn from watching physical demos, and they process real-time sensor data to control things like robots and other autonomous systems. Now, the rise of these LBMs had one massive consequence for data architecture. It pretty much signaled the death of batch. And why is that? Well, it's simple. A robot trying to make a split-second decision can't afford to wait for a data pipeline that runs once a night. The old way of processing data in these neat, scheduled chunks was just fundamentally broken for a world that needed continuous, real-time data to function. And this gave birth to a whole new data reality, something engineers started calling the asynchronous mess. Because suddenly, data engineers weren't dealing with clean, structured tables anymore. They were trying to manage a fire hose of high-frequency camera feeds, LiDAR scans, sensor data from robots, and even inputs from humans controlling machines remotely. It was messy, it was a mix of all kinds of formats, and it was coming from everywhere, all at once. So, the mission had to change. The new goal wasn't just to build static pipelines. The mandate became to build what you could call data circulatory systems. These living, breathing, real-time architectures that are constantly pumping fresh, reliable data to all of these hungry autonomous agents. It was a total paradigm shift. Okay, so we've seen the consolidation, we've seen the AI cascade, and we've seen the messy collision with the real world. Let's pull all these threads together and see where it leaves us. As we stand on the doorstep of 2026, what is the new mandate for a data engineer? I mean, this slide says it all, doesn't it? The transformation is just stark. The old role was a pipeline builder. You built ETL jobs, you moved data, you made sure things were up and running. The new role? You're an AI systems architect. You design and, crucially, you govern autonomous systems. You're not just worried about uptime, you're obsessed with context fidelity and agent accuracy. You're managing behavior, not just bytes. So what does this actually mean day to day? Well, this table lays out the new reality pretty clearly. Real-time RAG pipelines are now the default, which means mastering streaming tools like Kafka and Flink is no longer optional. Data contracts, agreements on data quality, are mandatory. Engineers now have to orchestrate these so-called agent lakes, these complex ecosystems of different AIs. And because AI is automating all the basic stuff, the human's role gets elevated from just coding to validating what the AI built and making sure it makes sense for the business. And this quote just perfectly captures the new job description. The job is becoming a hybrid of systems architect, product owner, and risk manager. The data engineer of 2026 is not a back office coder anymore. They're strategic leader right at the table making critical calls about how these powerful, autonomous systems plug into the real world. Which brings us to our final thought here. The bottleneck in the AI boom isn't the models anymore. It's the data. The quality of the data, the governance of the data, the speed of the data. So the question that everyone in this field had to start asking themselves was this: are you still just building the pipes, or are you building the central nervous system for the entire AI-powered organization?